Hello, friends, welcome again. Now, let us start with group buy. So, let's assume that what the business wants to ask total sales. Earlier, we have calculated total sales only, right? Which we get one row. Now, we want to get total sales, but it has to be by category, right? Total sales across each category, right? Instead of just saying I want total sales for all orders, I'm saying category wise I want sales, right? That category 1 has this much sale, category 2 has this much sales, and so on. Now if I have to achieve this, then let me first see how many categories are there. How do I see how many different categories are there? I can just say i can just say select distinct distinct category from sales, right? This way I will get to know how many different categories I have. So you can see we have five different categories: electronics, furniture, clothing, toys, and books. Under each category we might have many products, that's fine, but five different categories is what we have, right? We have these five different categories, and if you see, there should be five rows that I want. Let's say electronics has a total sales of, let's say, 20,000. I'm just giving an example. Let's say furniture has a total sales of 30,000, and clothing has a total sale of, let's say, 60,000. Toys has a total sale of, let's say, 10,000, right? Books has a total sale of 5,000. That means I'm expecting now five rows. That means if I have five groups, I will get five rows. If I have 10 groups, I get 10 rows. In this case, how many groups will be created? Totally five different groups will be created, because there are five distinct values for the group by column, right? Or for the column which we want. So you kind of understood how is it different than what we were doing earlier, where we were saying we get sum of what we did sales earlier, right? It used to give us one value, but now instead of one, we want to break it down into multiple groups, right? So there will be one group for electronics, and we will calculate the sum. There will be one group for furniture, we will calculate the sum, like that. So all the data will be broken down into five groups in this case, and we will calculate the sum. Previously, it was one big group. When we say select sum of sales, right? We are just doing that, and we were getting one single number. That was, think like your table as one big group. But now we are dividing it into five groups now. I hope this would make sense. Okay. So you understood that this should, we are expecting five rows and something like this in our output. That's what we are expecting. So how do we write such a query? So anyways, let me just put this here first, right? Now, how do we write such a query? I will say select, and I will leave it as blank. I will fill this from from what table? From sales table, right? Select some columns from sales table, where then we get a where clause generally. I will leave it as blank, right? Might not be required. And then we have, after where, we have group by, right? Group by. Now we want to get sales based on category. So what is our grouping column? On what basis we want to group? We want to group on category, right? Where we will get all the records for electronics together, right? So electronics is what? Category, right? So we want to group by category, right? Select dash from sales where group by category. Now in this we do not have any filter criteria, so I will remove where is optional, so I remove that. Okay. Now I have to fill select and dash. What should I put here? Now ideally, if you ask me, I want this kind of results, right? This is what category, right? This column is what category, and this is sum of sales across each group, right? Sum of sales. So what I will say, category, comma, select category, comma, sum of, I mean, ideally, what's the field name? It was amount, I guess. Amount. We will check if it is incorrect. As total sales. Total sales, right? This I will give. And let me run this. So you can see select category. So I'm getting electronics as total this much sale, which is what? Close to $1 million. Furniture has again less than $1 million. Clothing has the highest sale actually. Clothing is has the highest sale. So this is what I am getting. So you see this category, right? And then sum of amount. The sum of amount is not for all the data, rather it is for this particular category, right? If we were not grouping earlier and then we were saying some amount, it was giving one row and it was aggregating or summing up all of this, which was giving around 5 million USD. But now you see almost each of the categories roughly 1 million USD in this case. I hope you kind of got it. Let me just put it here. So how many rows will be there? The rows will be equivalent to number of different categories in this case, right? Whatever column you are grouping by, the number of distinct values in that will be total number of rows. So if there are 20 different categories, there would have been 20 rows here, isn't it? Okay. Now, I hope this should be making sense. Now, we'll take it very slowly. Do not worry. And group by is a very, very important topic for interview, by the way, right? That's why I'm emphasizing it a lot. And you should be knowing it in and out, right? Now, what if, let's say, we remove category from here? Category from here. Will this work? I have that clause in category in group by, but I'm not having it in my select. Will this work? Actually it will work, but it might not make any sense to you, because now you are getting this. How you will say what is what, right? You have some results, but you do not know what is this, close to this 1 million, kind of what, uh, 9 lakh 87,000, right? 9 lakh 51,000, what is that, right? You are not getting that what exactly is this number. This should mean that this is total sales for a particular region, right? Or a particular category. That category is not showing up, then how will I interpret this information even though it's working? So a working query does not mean it's the right query, by the way, right? So I'll just write it. So I will say this will work, but might not make much sense. I hope this is clear. Just have a look at what I have done. Okay. Now let me go back to the previous thing. This was working as usual. Let me show that. This makes sense also. Now, what if I want, or let's say I add a new column called as sale date? Sale date, right? Sale date. I think that was the one, right? We have sale date. Select category, sale date, some amount as total sales from sales. Will this work? I'll just put it there also. And think logically, should this work? This one. Will this work or not? Now you understand that you are grouping by category. So you are expecting five categories. I'll just put this here. You are expecting five categories, right? Okay. And okay, you are getting the sum of amount also. Sum of amount. That means whatever we write here, for each category, it should bring just single value. Now, sum of amount, does it bring a single value for each category? Yes. For example, in this case 20,000, in this case 30,000, right? That's fine. But now when I say sale date, now consider that electronics category. Consider electronics category has 10,000 records. 10,000 records. There are, okay, we totally have 10,000. Let's say electronics category has 2,500 records. Out of 10,000 total records for this table, electronics category has 2,500 records. Now, if I do sum of amount, I'm getting just one single answer. That means it will sum up this all the amounts for this 2,500 records. Understood. But when I say I want sale date, from this 2,500 records, I want sale date. Then which sale date I want? And if I just want sale date, it should give me 2,500 sale dates. But I want one single answer because for electronics, each category, I have to display a single result now. Now, if I have to display single result and I'm saying sale date, then what single result I have to print? It does not know, right? So that's where this query is not formed properly. It's logically incorrect. It is logically incorrect. It will not run, right? So if I try running it, it will fail. It says select list is not in group by. That means if I put this in group by, it will work. I will explain that, but for now, you understand that this is not going to work because logically you think that apart from this group by column, you give whatever column in group by, and apart from that, whatever columns you give should be aggregation columns or aggregation functions, right? That means it should return just one value. If it does not return one value, then how we will accommodate here? Because for electronics I will get 20 electronics I will get 2,500 different dates. How will I show one date out of that? I have not put in a logic for that, right? If I would have put in a logic like, okay, I want max date, max, will this work now? This should logically work. This should logically work. You see that, right? Max data, because I have data till 29th of June. In all categories 29 June there were some purchases actually, right? But now when I say max sale date, out of that 2,500 records for electronics, it is able to give you just one single value because maximum will be just one, right? But if you remove that maximum, then we do not know which one to choose from that 2,500 because we have to display only one value. So logically, I hope you would be kind of getting it, what I'm trying to convey. I'll just write. So this one, the below query will work. The below query will work, right? I hope this makes sense. Now, let me just take the first query that we wrote, which was a working query. Uh, this one, right? This one. Now just think that what if I do not give this some amount? That means I'm grouping by category, but I'm just removing this aggregation function, right? I'm removing this aggregation function. Will this work or not? Will this work or not? Select category from sales group by category, right? I am not giving any aggregation functions, just like this, right? I'm just saying category. It will just give me category like this. I'll just show you that. So this should work. This should work. But again, not should not make much sense because the output is same like distinct. We could have used a distinct in this case, right? So you see, this is more like distinct because if there are five different categories, it has grouped or separated it out, and it has separated it out with the intent that it will do aggregation later. But we are not doing any aggregations, right? We are saying, okay, just display the category names, right? So it's displaying that because that's what we are asking. So it is equivalent to, so I'll say this is equivalent to distinct. That means select distinct category from sales, right? So the answer is same as select distinct category from sales, right? It will give me the same results. Just see this, right? This and this are same, but I mean, this kind of group by does not make sense. Group by is mostly used when we really want to group it and then do some aggregations for each group. So I hope this is clear. Now, one thing that you have to remember, I will just show you that. So your select condition, whatever select, right, can have the group by column, right? Your select can have the group by column. That means, for example, if I'm putting category here, that's fine. Apart from that, any column that is allowed is only aggregation, right? I cannot just say amount here, or I cannot just say what order date, whatever. If order date is the column, I cannot put normal columns here. I can only do aggregation columns here. And you understood why is that? It's not that you have to by heart it. Logically, if you do not put aggregation columns, then it will give you multiple records. Then under each category, you want to show just one record. How will it accommodate? Right? So that's where what is allowed in select is you can give this particular thing, right? It's your, of course, you should give, otherwise, the results will look meaningless. It will not fail. Even if you do not give this category, it will not fail, but it will not make sense. So ideally, you should mention, as a best practice, you should mention the columns which you are giving in group by, you should mention in select, right? And then apart from that, you can mention the aggregation columns, right? Aggregation columns, and that's how it should work. I hope this is clear, right? So you cannot mention any other column which is not as part of aggregate. Now, if I say category comma product, just an example I am saying, category comma product, right? Then will this work? This should, but again, will not make sense. I should actually say category product here, right? Comma, I should do this. But now, if I remove product from here, will this work? No, this will fail only. This will give me an error because we want to group by category, right? For each category, we want to show one record. But under each category might be there are, let's say, five products. How will you show one of those? There is no logic that you have put in, right, for that. So kind of you would have understood what I am trying to convey here, right? Okay. So now let's say what I want is I want count count of products in each category. Very, very simple query. Count of products in each category. We have multiple categories and each category has multiple products. How do I calculate how many products are there in each category? So I can say select, and then I will put it later what columns from what table sales group by what? Of course, category, right? Category, group by category. Okay. Now here I will put category, right? Select category, comma. So you see the flow in which I am writing, right? So I put this same column here in select whatever there is in group by, and then under each category what I want. So let's say I get a category as furniture, right? Under furniture, all the records for furnitures are together. Let's say some 2000 records. 2000 records are together. Now I want to check the products column inside that. Now, if I just check the product column, there might be seven different products, but repeating in 2000 records, right? So I would have to do a distinct of products. So I will say distinct product. But this might give me, let's say, seven different product. If I just say product, this might give me 2000 products because 2000 rows are there, right? If I say distinct products, it will give me, let's say, seven different products if there are seven different products. And right, I have to use aggregation here, count. That means I should get that number, single value, which is seven, right? That's what it will accept. Otherwise, it will fail. As as let's say I can give some name, total number of products, total products from sales group by category. See, I'm trying to uh, talk what my mind is saying, right? It's not that I'm just writing the query. So you see books, This category has 5 products. Clothing has 5 products. Electronics has 10 products. Furniture has 10 products. Toys has 5 products. Right? So this is the query that is there. I hope this would make sense. Okay? Just have a look at it. Now, let's say we want to find total quantity sold for each product, right? Total quantity sold for each product, right? Now you identify your grouping column. So first I write this select, right? From and select from where is not there group by, right? Select from group by. So select I will put later from sales table, sales, group by what? Total quantity sold for each product. That means for each product, right? That means my grouping has to be done on product. Grouping has to be done on product, right? Group by product. Now I put product here, I put product here, and then what aggregation I want to do for each. Let's say there is a product which is, let's say, what were the different products? Let's say under category book, there is some particular book, right? And for that book, I want to find how many quantities are sold. Then what I have to do? Sum of, sum of what? Quantity. Sum of quantity as total quantity. I can give this alias. If I do not want, I let's not give. If required, you give it, right? It's not something mandatory. So let me just run this. Let me just run this. So I'm taking various examples so that you build that thought process. Laptop, 1243 quantities sold, right? Smartphone, 1067 quantities sold. Tablet, 950. Now, I mean, in one order, someone might be purchasing 5 products also. So right now, we are getting total quantity sold, but number of orders across which these are sold will be different. So if I have to calculate the number of orders, then what I can say? I can say, uh, I can just say count star. That means how many rows are there inside each, right? As total orders, right? So let me just run this. I'll just break it down like this. Okay. And you can see laptop across 213 total orders, 1243 quantities are sold. Smartphone in 205 orders, 1067 total quantity sold. That means on an average in one order person is purchasing 5 of it, right? 5 quantities. This is dummy data. Ideally smartphone people will not purchase 5 and all, right? Isn't it? I hope this is kind of making sense, right? Just have a look at it, that what exactly I'm saying. Now let's say we have to find 3 products with maximum sales volume. The business wants to see 3 products with maximum sales volume, right? This looks interesting. 3 products with maximum sales volume. Okay, that means I will write the structure select from group by. Since filter is not there, that's why, right? So now from is simple sales table, right? Group by 3 products with maximum sales volume. What exactly we want to group by? Of course product, right? Product. So group by product, right? So I will just say select product. I'll quickly write product. Whatever is in group by, I will make sure I write it here, right? Comma. Now I want to say maximum sales, right? So that means I first want the sales across each product. I want sales across each product. So how do I find sales? Sum of amount, isn't it? Sum of amount as total sales, let's say. Okay, so actually, when it says maximum sales volume, it can be amount also or quantity also, right? So might be maximum sales volume. It seems more like quantity, so I will change it. So instead of amount, I will say quantity. That means more products sold, kind of, right? That's what volume means. As total quantity, as total quantity, okay, from sales group by product. Let's see what this will give me. Let's see what this will give me. This will not give me the output that I want, but we have something intermediate which we will use. So it says laptop totally 1243 quantity sold, smartphone 1067 quantities sold, and so on. Now what my ask was three products with maximum sales volume, right? So I can do a order by now. Order by, order by what? Total quantity. Order by total quantity. So if I just take this and I let me put descending order, DESC, right? In descending order, highest one at the top, lowest one at the bottom. Okay, let's see. So you can see this is the thing, and actually I want these three results, first three, right? Because these are three products with maximum sales volume. Then I can limit it by saying limit of three, as simple as that. All of these things remain intact, right? Whatever you have learned, and this is what my answer will be. This is what my answer will be. I'll just write it here. So three products with maximum sales volume. Okay. Now I want to get, let's say, total sales, total sales and number of transactions per store location, per store location. So select from group by, right? Select from group by. I will put in sales here. Now, what is my aggregation column? Total sales and number of transactions per store location. That means store location, right? And for store location, I have a column called as store location. So without thinking much, I will definitely put it here, store location, so that it makes sense. Even if I do not put, it does not give error, but it's not that if query runs, then it's fine. No, right? We have to get logical outputs. So select store location, comma, and then you have to use aggregation, whatever aggregate functions I have to use. That means it should return one value. So total sales. So sum of amount, right? Sum of amount as total sales, and what we want, total sales is one thing, and number of transactions. That means comma count star. If I do a count star, it give me number of transactions, right? For that each category or each group, I mean, as num transactions, right? I'll just break it like this, from sales group by store location. So let me just run this, and this should work fine, I believe. So you can see New York store location, the sale is close to a million USD, right? And number of transactions are 2016. Los Angeles, close to a million again, more than a million, 2050 total transactions, right? All of that. I hope this makes sense, right? So now, let's say I want to find average sale amount by customer. Average sale amount by each customer, right? That means how many final output rows I will have, equivalent to number of customers. If there are, let's say, 1,000 different customers, I should have 1,000 output rows saying that okay, this customer one, average sale amount is this, right? And how to calculate average? That if, let's say, Sumit is one customer and I have purchased, made three orders. One is of 1000, one is of 4000, and one is of 2000, right? So the total is what? 7000, and number of orders is 3. So total divided by count, right? I hope this makes sense. And there will be one record for each customer. So let's try to build this again. Select from group by, right? From, again I will put sales, group by average sale amount by each customer. So that is customer ID, customer ID. And again, without thinking much, I will put it here, customer ID, comma. Now what aggregation I want? Average sale amount. So I will say AVG, average, average, right, amount, average amount, right, as I can give a alias, average sale, average sale. So how this would work internally is that for each customer it will create a group. So there would be, let's say, if there are 10, if there are, let's say, 500 different customers, there will be 500 groups. Each group will have certain number of records for that customer, right? For that, sum will be calculated and then count will be calculated, and internally it will use both sum and count to calculate the average, right? So let me just run this, right? And this gives me customer 101 has average sale, he make a average sale of like purchase of 498 USD, right? 102 574, right? And 103 537, and so on. I hope this would make sense, right? Now, if I would have wished, I could find in this, I can use any number of aggregate functions. I can say how much total purchase is made by each customer, sum of amount as total purchase amount, right? And then let's say I can myself find this count also, count of total number of transactions a person has made, count star as number of orders, number of orders each person has placed, right? Number of orders. And then I can basically divide this sum amount divided by count star, as I can say average AVG sale, right? Again, earlier I got it, but again you see that, 1 minute. Okay, this is supposed to be this. So I have calculated this average, but now I'm calculating it manually myself. It should be the same as whatever system gives us. So average is nothing but sum of amount divided by count of items. And you see customer ID 101, sale 4, average sale 498, total this person has purchased this much, number of orders placed 19, and you see when we divide this versus this, we get 498, which is same. You can check it out, right? I'm trying to use more and more functions so that you get little used to it. Otherwise, no point of showing this to you. We were talking about average, and I want to give you little more details about how a average works, right? So let's say we have a amount column, but there are multiple rows. Let's say we have like id, some id, let's say, and we have id 1, and then amount, let's say, is 10,000, right? And then we have another row 2, and let's say the amount is 15,000. There is some row 3, amount is, let's say, null, right? Ideally null is nothing, right? Not record, the entry is not there, right? That is null. So I am just writing null. It's not a string null, rather it's a null, right? Which is not comparable to anything. 4, right? And then it is let's say 5,000. Now if I calculate total of amount, what will be the total? Will it be able to calculate? Yes, it will. It will simply ignore the null. It will simply ignore the null. So total amount will be what? 25,000 plus 5,000, that is 30,000. 30,000. If I calculate max of amount, what we will get? Will we get or no? Yes, we will. Any aggregate function will simply ignore null. That's a very thumb rule that you have to remember, right? So here, if you I calculate max of amount, it will be 15,000. Same way, min of amount can also be calculated. Now about average amount, right? Now, average amount will be sum is what? 25 plus 5, 30,000 divided by what? Now you have to think of divided by, is it 3 or divided by 4? There are 4 records but 3 values inside amount, right? So actually it's considering just the amount column for sum and count. So the count of amount is 3 because there are 3 values and the sum is 30. So the average will be 10,000. The average will be 10,000. Now, if there is a special requirement for you that you want, no, you want this sum is 30,000, and you want to divide with 4 because 4 is total number of records, then you have to use your own customized logic. You can say sum of amount divided by count of star, isn't it? You can do that. So, but remember, all the aggregation functions will ignore null. Right? Very, very important to remember. And a lot of interview questions are framed around this lines. You can check that out. Okay. Fine. So now let us come to another query that we have to write. Let's say I have to tell total sales by month and category. By month and category. By month and category. That means category and month. If you see it this way, category and month, that's what we want. Anyways, both result lead to same result. Month and category or category and month are two same things. Now, first of all, if I want this, that means how many distinct rows or how many rows will be there in output? How many rows will be there in output? So the rows that will be there in output will be, if I just say select star from sales, right? And what I say, select uh, sales by month and category, right? So I can say select distinct, right? Now, from this, I have to take out the month part, right? Take out the month part. So, or basically this part 2023-01. Because if I take the date, then there are so many categories. Rather, I have to do it on a monthly basis, right? So, I should be only taking year and month part. How I can take, I will show you that, but I have to write here. I mean, if you see at a high level that you have to talk about month here, ideally there is nothing right month as of now, comma, and category. This won't work because there is nothing called as month, because we have to extract the month, year and month from this, right? Now if you see logically, there are 6 different months. So 6 months, right? And how many categories are there? We have seen 5 categories. 5 categories. So, of course, if in every month all 5 categories have been sold, then at the max 30 rows will be there in output. 30 rows will be there in as a output, right? And it will be something like each row will look something like, for example, electronics, right? And then apart from that, for month, let's say it is 2023 year and 01 January. That means Jan 2023, right? This is one group. Again, for electronics, there will be another group for, let's say, 2023 Fab, right? Fab, like that. So for electronics, there might be six groups because there are 6 months, right? There will be six groups most likely for electronics. Same way for your furniture, there will be six groups. For other things, toys, there will be six groups most likely, right? So 30 groups will be there. Now, how do I basically extract? First of all, we have to see how do we extract year and date, year and month from the sale date, right? So what we can do, I will remove this. Let's say I print sale date. I am just taking that, and after that I will operate this, right? Okay, I'm getting this. Now I want year and month. So what I can use a date format. Anyways, I will have a separate session where I will talk more about dates, but since it is coming in between, I am just giving you an idea. That means my date right now is whatever, but I can format it my way, right? I can extract parts from it using the date format function, right? And then what it takes is the column name, which is sale date, right? Comma. Now, date format is the function. That means I want to format this particular column and what I want to extract from this, or what I want. Percentage y, this is capital, right? And percentage, that means percentage y hyphen percentage small m, right? I'll explain you what it is this. If I do this, let's see what it will give me. You can see it is giving me year, right? So if I say sale date, that means whatever we had earlier, let's say, was 2023 01 01. Out of this one was year, this one was month, and this one was day, right? Now percentage y means year I want to extract, and capital Y means I want to extract like 4-digit year. If I give small y here, it will extract only two digits, last two, right? That means 23, 22, like that. I'll just show you that. You see this, but it might not make sense. So I want proper y. I want 2023 hyphen, right? That's what I want. Percentage m, small m, right? I have given. That will give me I mean, month in two digits. If I would have given capital M, this would give January, February, I mean, complete month in English, this thing, right? You see, 2023, January, Feb, March, June, like that. But for me, the small m is good enough, right? So you can see that from actual date, we are extracting these parts, whatever we need, isn't it? So now what we actually wanted was a distinct on. So how many rows will be there, right? What all rows we will have? Distinct, select distinct of date format, comma. What was the other thing on which we have to do grouping? Category, right? Comma, category, right? So if you see this, right, let me just show you. 30 records it has written. So you see 2023 January electronics, 2023 January furniture, like that. All combinations are there. All combinations. So 30 rows are there that will display. But what I would need is some aggregation column for all of this. That okay, electronics in Jan month, how many, like what was the total sales, what was the total product sold, like that, right? I hope you are getting a feel of what I'm trying to say. So let me just pick it here and put it, right? Okay. Now, what I have to do, I will remove this distinct. Distinct, I just showed you to show how many rows will be there, right? So again, my writing style would be, I just do a control Z, select whatever. from sales, right? From sales, and then we do not have anything like where. That means we have group by what? What are the two columns? What are the two columns? Sale month, which we will derive, and category, right? So there is nothing called a sale month in our table right now, but we have category. Sale month we will have here. So now I'll put date format sale date as sale month, right? As sale month, comma category, right? So these two I have just given like this, right? These two, of course, I have to give, right? Otherwise, you could have also used this here. I mean, you could have also used, sorry, I will do a control C, right? You could have used this also like this. That should have also worked. But to make it more neat, I can give sale month here. Group by sale month, comma, category. So these two I have given now. I have to do aggregation, isn't it? I have not done any aggregation till now. This is more like I am doing a distinct till now, whatever, right? But now I need some aggregation across this, that okay, for each category in this month, what is what, right? What we have to calculate total sales. So it is sum of sum of amount, isn't it? Sum of amount as total sales. As total sales. That's it. And now if I see this, this should work. This should work. You see this. For electronics in January month, we have a sale of 1,73,000, right? Or 173,000, whatever you say, right? So you kind of get these numbers. There are 30 rows. If we want, we can have more aggregation columns, but only aggregation columns will be allowed now. Like some max, we do max on something, min on something, right? And average on something, all of that. Okay, fine. Now, what we want is total sales by store location where total sales exceed 1 million. This is interesting now. Total sales by store location where total sales exceed 1 million. 1 million. So this is little different where we have this kind of thing that it should exceed 1 million, right? Some level of filtering we are saying to have. So I will write my format select from where group by, right? All of this. So select from is sales table. Uh, Now after that, let me ignore group by for now. Sorry, let me ignore where from now for now. Group by. So total sales by store location. So group by store location, isn't it? Group by store location. Store location. Right? And now the moment I put this here also in select to make it meaningful. Select store location, comma, total sales we have to find, right? So aggregation is sum of amount, sum of amount as total sales. All of this is something which you have done earlier also. But difference is where total sales exceed 1 million. Where total sales exceed 1 million. Now you might be thinking, we have from and then we can write a where. I'm not saying whatever I'm writing is correct, right? So for those who know SQL, I'm not saying whatever I'm writing right now is correct. But some of you might think that I can write a where and I can say where total sales is greater than what? 1 million means 3, 4, 5, 6. And this should work. This should work. But this will not. This will not. Because you remember any of these derived columns, right? Any of these derived columns and all is not visible to where? We have seen that. Select comes later than where. We know that. We have seen that earlier too. You can see it will say total sales not found, where clause, right? If I run this, you can see unknown column total sales in where clause. That's what we were expecting. So, kind of your where is not to kind of eliminate the groups, right? Where is not for that. Rather, in such cases, when you have to kind of filter on some aggregations, right? When you have to filter on aggregations, right? Then you should not be using where. I'll just remove that. I'll just remove that. Rather, you should be using having. Group by having. I'll explain you in detail, do not worry. Where total sales is greater than 1 million. Right? I'll first of all run this and show this is working, and then I will talk about what I have done. Okay? So you can see this. So there are these two store locations, New York and Los Angeles, where total sales is greater than 1 million USD. Right? So what I have done is, basically what I have done, how many store locations were there? How many store locations were there? Let me just check out. Select distinct store location from sales. Let me just check this out. I think five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. There are five distinct store locations. Now that means our group by condition, after that, whenever it works, we should have five output rows. Output rows, right? One row for New York, one for Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, Houston, right? Now I want to show only like five groups we have, right? Five groups. Now we want to show only those groups where total sales is greater than 1 million, right? So it's like now I have five groups. In this five groups, I have to do filter so that I want to show only the groups where total sales is 1 million. Of course, you could not have you could not have applied this criteria before group by, because aggregations are happening in group by only, right? In group by, using group by, we are doing all the aggregations. Before group by, we have not done any aggregation. So total sales is only available after group by. Before group by, it is not available only. So how can you do as part of where clause, right? As part of where clause, you can only use columns which are there in your table, but any such aggregations or something you have generated, you cannot use in that, right? So any, whenever you have to do a filter on aggregations, then you should be using a having clause, just like I have used. So I mean, you see that we got five groups, and out of that I'm saying I want to display only those groups for where sale is greater than 1 million, right? I want to show only that group, right? And two groups match the criteria. Two groups match the criteria, right? So actually, before this having, the situation would be, I'll just show you that the situation before having was something like this, right? Los Angeles 1 million, more than 1 million, right? New York more than 1 million, Chicago less than that, right? All of this. Now this is the input. Now for having clause, what's the input? This input. This is the input to the having clause, and it says total sales greater than 1 million. Only these two qualifies. So it takes and shows you that, and it discards these three rows, right? You will understand more. I'll take more examples, but kind of you would have got the perspective around it. Fine. Now, let's say I want highest order amount in each category. I want to find highest order amount in each category. In each category. How do I find out? select from group by, right? So from is again sales table, group by. I want to find highest order amount in each category. That means group by category. Group by category. Right? Now I will write category here without thinking much and highest order amount. So I can use max. Max amount. Max amount. Right? That means in each category what transaction amount was the maximum, right? And I can give a alias as highest sale. Highest sale. Very straightforward thing. You should be kind of with whatever we have covered. This should be looking very redundant to you, right? Electronics, the maximum sale amount for any transaction was 1200. In furniture, someone spent around 999.53, right? Clothing, toys, books, you can see that, right? Very straightforward. I don't think it requires much explanation also. Now I want to find out total sales amount and average quantity sold per product in New York. Now we are getting more complicated, right? So total sales amount and average average quantity sold per product in New York, right? Total sales amount and average quantity sold per product in New York. So let me just put my structure select from group by, right? From is again sales, total sales amount and average quantity. These are aggregations, right? What I have to do per product in New York. That means group by product, right? And there is some filter also which we will see, right? Group by product. Now I will put product here without thinking much, and I will put the aggregation total sales amount. That means sum of amount, right? As sum of amount as total sales, comma, right? And then what is that? Average quantity. So AVG, right? Average quantity, right? As average quantity as let's say AVG quantity. I'm giving a name. Okay. From sales, group by product. This is all fine. I mean, apart from this product in New York, we are doing all fine. Let me run this and see what exactly it is giving me. Okay. So product laptop, total sales is this, average quantity, right? Average quantity sold is this, right? Now, what I basically want is total sales amount and average quantity sold per product in New York. In New York. That means I want to just filter the records for New York and then should have done that. Right now, when I talk about this laptop, it would be talking about, let's say, New York, right? And other locations also, whatever are the other locations, right? Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, whatever locations, it would have collected the details and sales and quantity for all, right? I just want it for New York. So this sales number should be low, even average quantity. I mean, I cannot talk about average quantity, but this total sales will go lower because right now it has clubbed for multiple places, right? So now, how do I filter? This filter, as you understand, can be or should be from sales where because this is not that after grouping we have to do, right? This is before grouping. So where store location equal to New York, equal to New York, right? And if I run this, you see the right now it's 98,000 something. It will get lower, right? Laptop is now 14,000 something because we have just filtered it for New York. So how this would have worked is it would have gone to the table, right? Initially from, right? Just have a look from. After that, it would have filtered it for the store location New York. So let's say initially there are 10,000 records. Then after store location equal to New York might be there are just 2,000 records, right? Now this 2,000 record, so I'll just write it here. So initially let's say 10,000 records are there. So after we do, uh, let's say load table, 10,000 records. After we do where, that means filter, we are left with 2,000 records only, let's say, assuming. And then after that it will group by, that means form groups. It might create, uh, if there are let's say 20 different products, it will create 20 different groups like that. So some group might have 100 rows, another group might have 200 rows, right, like that. So these are the kind of groups which it is creating, and then it will sum it up. Then it will sum it up. But right now we have how many products? Actually 35 products. So 35 groups are created. That means this 2000 rows are split in 35 groups, right? Some group might have 100, some group might have 200, whatever. And then on that we are calculating sum of amount as total sales and average quantity. I hope this would make sense. So I am trying to cover as much examples as I can cover so that you feel very confident about it, right? I hope this makes sense. So where and having, you should not get confused. Simple thing. See, having is that in the sense, let's say you are getting, for example, in this case, you have 37 distinct products, right? Let's say you have 37 distinct products. Now, if you use, let's say, having, it is meaning to say that out of this 37 rows, you want to show what rows you want to show, right? Might be you want to show only 20 rows from this 37. That means inside this 37 rows, let's say the first row has total sum of 10,000. Having clause do not have the power to reduce this value, right? That means only where clause has the power to reduce the value of this sum, because it will eliminate the records, individual records, and then this value of sum will go down. But having is something like you have 37 distinct rows as output. Which rows you want to show, right? Based on your aggregation criteria, then you can use having. If you want to eliminate rows, that okay, I just want to do analysis on New York, then you remove this using where store location equal to New York, so that we are now left with just 2,000 records out of 10,000, right? And then of course whatever first row, if it would have shown value of 10,000, now will might show little less because the sum would have gone down. See, I'm trying to explain you. I hope you are getting what I'm trying to convey here. Now our requirement is we just need to do the analysis on the product, and there is a product which is tablet, right? Tablet, right? On tablet we have to do all the analysis. We do not have to worry about other products. Then what is the best way to do or go about it, right? What is the best way to do that? So let me just take this query. Let me take this query, and now I'm saying group by product, and I can say, again, I'm not saying this is the best thing that I'm doing, but let me write having product equal to tablet, right? Having product equal to tablet. So what I am trying to do, my table is sales, where condition, because I just want to filter New York data, that's fine. Uh, Group by product, right? And I am having product here and some aggregation columns, whatever. And I want only data for product which is tablet. Now, this query, will this run or not? Just think of it, will this query work or no? This query will work. This query will work. Okay. Tablet, total sales, average quantity. So what we are saying in New York, uh, like what's the total sale for tablet and what's the total quantity sold, right? Sorry, what's the average quantity sold, right? Like that. So instead of average, let me say sum. Sum will make more sense, right? It doesn't make the aggregations, whatever you want to play, you can. So tablets, the total sales made is this and quantity sold is this. I'll write it here. 1 minute. This is working, then you might say this is good. No, whatever working does not mean it's good, right? It can be bad also, right? Just working queries is not something that you are learning. You want to write queries which are logically correct, optimal, and are performant. Now you think that what you have done, you have, let's say, 37 products, right? That's what I can recall. Might be 35, whatever, right? 37 products. What you have done, you have grouped by product. That means you will create 37 groups, and in each group there will be some rows. It will aggregate those rows, right? It will do all the hard work, creating the groups, doing all the aggregation, and in the end, you are saying out of 37 group, I just want a group with the name tablet, right? I mean, if that was the case, you could have mentioned before doing the grouping only, right? Why this in having it should be in where clause, right? Where store location equal to New York and product equal to tablet. Product equal to tablet. Let me remove this, right? Don't you feel this is more performant? Because it's not that I am doing all the hard work and then after that saying, okay, I didn't needed all of that, sorry, right? It's like I'm saying I want only tablet data and then I am doing grouping for tablet only because now there is no product. So kind of if all the products have same amount of data, then it will be kind of I would say 37 times more optimized, right? Because you are not creating 37 groups, rather you are just creating one group here and you are just aggregating for that group rather doing it for 37 groups, right? So, I mean, kind of if whatever is the group column, on that if you have to do a filter, right? On directly the grouping column, if you have to do a filter, you should do it in where clause, not having. But if you want to do, okay, anyways, I'll tell the later statement. You will get confused. First, let me run this and show that output is the same, right? Now, even you see how much time it took to run 0.009, 0.009. Now, before that, whatever I ran little more time, took little more time, 0.012. That means it is also seeing 10 times the benefit actually. The query where we have written where clause, it's seeing 10 times the benefit. The more the data grows, the more benefits you can see from that, right? So just understand this thing that whatever column on which you are doing grouping, if you want to filter on that, you should be using it in where clause, not in having. In having also it will work, but it's like you doing 100 things and in the end you say, sorry, I was not supposed to do that. I should have done only these two, right? Or one, whatever, right? I hope this would make sense. Now, I mean, just to explain you, let's say there are 40,000 rows. I'm just giving you explanation. Now, let's say there are five groups. Five groups we are creating based on city. That means you want to do a group by on city. Let's say city is Hyderabad, like for people, folks staying in India, right? They can relate Chennai, uh, right? Bangalore, Pune, Delhi. And so this is city basically, city. and then let's say we have count of orders. Count of orders, that's the aggregation we are willing to have. Let's say count of orders. So let's say for Hyderabad the count of orders is let's say 8,000. I'm writing some random values. Chennai, let's say 10,000. Okay. Bangalore, let's say 6,000. Pune 5,000. And Delhi 11,000, let's say 11,000. This is the stuff. Okay. Now let's say we apply filter, right? Based on that I want to do analysis only for January month. Now, the moment I say that, you will understand that it should be a part of where clause rather than having, right? It should be a part of where clause because it's not aggregation or not doing filtering on any aggregation. Rather, individual records only that, okay, whatever is for Jan month, we keep it, otherwise we will discard. After we do that, let's say we are left with less data, and this becomes, let's say, instead of 8,000, let's say this becomes 2,000, this becomes 3,000, 3,000, this becomes 1,500, right? This becomes 1,000, and this becomes, let's say, 3,500, 3,500, right? That means you have reduced the data only, right? Rather than groups. It's not that you have reduced the groups, rather you have reduced the data, right, among each group. So basically, in such cases, where clause makes sense, right? Or you will be using where clause because the filter that you are doing is on one of the column from the table itself. You're not doing a filter on aggregation like if sum is more than this, if average is more than this, right? So basically, it makes sense to apply having clause if we want to either filter based on, let's say if this is the example, if we want to filter based on count of orders, right? That means if count of orders more than 1,000, right? Then of course now we are saying we have this five groups out of which group we want to display based on the filter. It won't reduce the data. If Hyderabad is 2,000, it won't make it 1,000. Rather, if these are five rows, it might make it two rows that some will qualify for having clause, some will not. As simple as that. So it makes sense to apply having clause if we want to either filter based on count of orders in this case, or not just this, or any other aggregations, or any other aggregations like let's say total sales. If total sales more than 1 million, then only display that group, otherwise not, right? Anything it can be, or anything else. So I hope you are trying to understand that when having has to be used, right? So this aggregation actually was, I mean, think that this you are using having clause when you have to do filter on aggregation, and this aggregation was done in group by. So it is only possible after group by. How can you do it in where clause, right? So filters on aggregation is not possible in where clause because by that time aggregation is not done itself. In group by the aggregation is done, and after that filter can be done in having for that, right? So I think this would have given you clarity on what I wanted to explain you. Okay, so let's see more examples. Let's say we want to find total sales and total quantity sold by month, right? Sold each month, right? Month basis we want to do. So again, simple thing, select from group by, right? From, again I will put sales, group by, month, right? Now, how do we get the month? How do we get the month? Let's say group by this. That means date format, sale date, this one. That means it will give me 2023-01, 2023-02, and so on. I want to group by based on this, right? And from sales, that is fine. And I will just put it here. I'll just put it here. Okay. And give it a alias, let's say, as sale month. Sale month. And when I'm giving a alias here, I could use this alias here also as part of optimization. I can do that. Sale month, right? Now we have given this, so we can now use some aggregations. What aggregations we want? Total sales. So I can say sum of amount as total sales. Okay. And what? Sum of quantity, right? Quantity, sum of quantity as total quantity, right? From sales group by sale month. I hope this is clear. Let me run this. Let me just run this. Okay. And you can see this is working. 2023 January. Total sales is this, total quantity sold is this. 2023 again Feb, right? This much. 2023 March. All of that we are getting. How many rows? Total 6 rows, because there are total 6 months. There are total 6 months and we are getting 6 rows here. I hope this should be clear to you. Now, what I want is I want the count of unique customers who purchase from each store. I will explain you. Unique customers who purchased who purchased from each store. That means I should reframe it. From each store, from each store, I want the count of unique customers, like who made a purchase. So that means if I have to say select from group by from sales table, group by what? From each store. That means store location. Store location. And again, I will put the store location here. Right? I will put the store location, comma. Now I have to use the aggregation. So from each store, I want to count the unique count of unique customers. So how do I find the customers? So we have customer ID, but let's say in a store there are 20,000 transactions which have happened. Then this customer ID will give all this 20,000 customer IDs, but one person might have made 10 orders also. So if I want distinct, unique customer ID, then I should say distinct customer ID, right? Then this might give me, let's say, only 200 customers who place that 10,000 transactions, right? That's what I want. And I can basically do a count of that. Count this one, isn't it? And then I can give alias as customer count, customer count. Okay. Let me run this. Uh, okay. Chicago 494, Houston 490. That means from Chicago store 494 different customers have made some purchases. Houston 490 different customers have made some purchases, like that. Total purchases will be more. If I want to see total purchases, I can say comma, right? I'll just put it in a different line first of all, comma, count of star as total orders. right? That means 494 customers have purchased these many orders, 1952 orders, right? On an average, each customer has purchased around five or made placed five orders like that. I hope this makes sense. Okay. Now what I want is I want monthly sales by each customer. Monthly sales by each customer, right? Monthly sales by each customer. So uh, select from group by. Okay, I hope all of this is pretty clear. Group by. Now, based on what I want to do group by, monthly sales, that means month is one thing, each customer, that means customer. So uh, group by month and customer. So month, if I have to do again, you remember, I can just take this group by this, comma, comma, and what's next? Customer ID. So this is month, that means year and month combination, and this is customer ID. Later I will replace it with alias when I write it in select. So that's fine. Now, two things I will, as it is, keep it here, and I will say I'll give it a alias, right? Otherwise it will show like this, as what I will say, sale month, sale month. And since I have given this, I can mention it here also, right? Group by sale month, comma, customer ID. Okay. Now I have to give the aggregations, what aggregations I want to give here, right? So monthly sales by each customer, so we have to find the sales, which is sum of sum of amount as total sales, as total sales. Very much same, but it's just that we are using two things in the group by, two fields in the group by. So let's see. Okay, customer 101 in January, this person made this much sale. Customer 102 in Jan made this much sale, and so on. Right? Now I want to refine this slightly. Now I want to say monthly sales by each customer who have placed at least eight orders, who have placed at least eight orders. Now, the moment you see that customer placed eight orders, that means this is something, this filter is based on some grouping, right? It's not an individual record. Rather, for customer, we would find, okay, this has placed 10 orders, and we would have to display only the ones with more than eight, right? So, this way you understand that it is a candidate for a having clause, not where, right? Because we are applying a filter on aggregation. Okay, so let me just show you what we can do here. I'll just copy this query and we will just change it whatever required. Select date format as sale month, comma customer ID, comma some amount as total sales. From sales, group by sale. This is all perfect. It's just that we have to use one having clause. I should say having what? Count star. That means total orders placed, right? It's count star greater than what? In this case, 8, right? Greater than or equal to 8, right? At least 8 orders means even if 8 are there, then it should come up. So let's say that if I do not give this having, then what we are getting how many records? 2901. We are getting 2901 records if we are not giving having clause. Now, the moment we give having clause, now these number of rows will be reduced. The number of rows will be reduced, but whatever row will be there will be showing same amount of sales like earlier. It won't be that the sales will be decreased, because we have not done individual row level filtering, which is done generally in where clause, right? So you can see now only 67 records are shown, only 67, But those 67 total sales and all will be the same way the way it was earlier. We have not changed that. If we would have used some where clause and filtered out some record, then it would have been a different case. So this having was to make sure that out of 2901 groupings that we had for month and customer ID, what all we want to show, right? And we want to show based on this aggregate condition, which is giving 67 records. I hope this is clear, right? Okay. Now, I mean, just in case I want to change this to some other thing, let's say, uh, might be there is a condition that I want to get details for premium customer, and premium customers are the ones where average amount is greater than 600. That means average amount for each transaction is more than 600. So I can say ABG amount greater than uh, 600, right? This is my condition for a premium customer, let's say, because they are having a high ticket price, let's say, right? In each order they are purchasing more. So if I run this should also work, and this gives me 778 records, right? All the premium customers, right? So monthly sales by each customer who are premium, right? Monthly sales by premium customers you can think of, right? This is what it is. So this is uh, monthly sales by premium customers, and premium criteria is average amount for each order is greater than 600, right? So now I will just copy this and okay, premium monthly sales by premium customers. I will copy and just put this here because for reference I have to give, right? I changed that, having count star count star greater than or equal to 8, right? Okay, so I believe this is fine. Now let's say I want to find total sales amount by category with sales in Jan 2023. Total sales amount by category, right? And with sales in, I mean, I am just considering sales in Jan 2023. I just want to consider sales of January 2023, how we should approach this. Now, uh, select from uh, group by, right? So I'll quickly write this sales, select group by, sales amount by category, right? So this is category, and I will put category here. And now what is the aggregation? Total sales. So sum of amount as total sales. Right? Just have a look. All of these things are same. Now, now what about this Jan 2023? Should it be a part of where or having? Right? I just want to consider data of Jan 2023. So it should be a part of where? Individual records I'm talking about, no grouping. I'm not trying to filter on some groupings, right? So you can see that I can just say select category some amount as total sales from sales group by category. Before that I can put a where clause. Where uh, what is the name of this? Sale date, right? Column name was sale date. Okay, sale date. Sale date now has year, month, and date, right? All of these three things are there. If I want to extract month out of it, there is, we can just say month. We can just say month like this, and we will be able to extract month out of it, right? And we can just compare whether it is equal to 1 or not. Because if it is Jan 2023, then month should be 1, and we have to compare the year also, because data might be for different years. And then To fetch the year, we can say year, right? Sale date column, which has all the three things, but we are wrapping it inside a year function so that we get the year out of it. That should be equal to 2023. That's the end condition. That means both of these conditions should be satisfied, right? So let me just see that. And if we run, you can see. I hope this is clear. Now, if you see, I would not have run this where, if I would not have run this where, electronics would be more, right? All of these things would be more. You can see that. I mean, the groupings would have been the same. It's just that the value of total sales would have been more now. You can see this, isn't it? The groupings are the same. So where clause does not change the ideally does not change the number of groupings, right? But the main purpose of where clause is to change or eliminate the data and which is as part of the groupings later, right? So I hope you understand that. Now what we want to find another example, we want to find total uh, sales amount by premium customers, and by premium customer in this case I mean, let's say, person who make a purchase of uh, more than purchase more than 7,000 USD, 7,000, right? If someone make a purchase of more than 7,000, I consider as premium customer. So I want to find total sales amount by premium customers, right? uh, with and I want to consider sales on weekdays. I just want to consider sales on weekdays, not weekends, right? That means I want to consider on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's it. Saturday and Sunday I do not want to consider the sales, right? Because I have some analysis that I have to do. So total sales amount by premium customers and only for weekdays. How to approach this? So select from group by, right? Again, sales. Now group by, I just want to take total sales amount by premium customers. That means group by, of course, what it is, customers, right? So customer ID, group by customer ID. So customer ID I will put here also, right? Customer ID I have put here, and total sales we want. So sum of amount as total sales, right? All of this is fine. This looks all neat. Now we have two things now. Sale we have to consider only on weekdays, number one, right? And number two, premium customer. That means total purchase should be more than 7,000. So for premium customer, will it be a part of where or having? Now, total sales more than 7,000. The moment you are saying total sales, that means you want to apply filter on aggregation. So it is a part of having. It is a part of having. Now, talking about weekdays or weekends, right? This is a part of where, because that is normal data, not aggregation, right? So from sales, where clause we have to put, and there will be a having clause also, right? Having is for aggregation filter, where is for normal filter. So now, how do I check that it is weekdays? So there is a function called as day of week. It's fine if you do not remember, you can always Google it, right? If I have to also remember it 6 months down the line, I would have to Google such functions. So where day of week, and then I pass in that column. In our table, we have sale date, right? Sale date, right? Now when we wrap it inside day of week, it will tell whether it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. So if it is between 2 and 6, that means, see, 1 is Sunday, 2 Monday, 3 Tuesday, like that, and that way 7 is a Saturday, right? So it starts from 1, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I will say where day of week between, I will use between now, 2 and 6, right? I hope that should work fine. 2 and 6, because 1 is a Sunday and 7 is a Saturday. So this is fine. We have eliminated the records. Group by customer ID having now, I would say having total sales, because in this I have to put that filter, right? That which groupings I want to display. So initially, let me just run this first of all. Let me just run this. Okay. And you see, we have 500 rows which are returned. 500 rows. The moment I put that filter having what total sales, total sales greater than greater than 7,000, of course we will get only some of these 500 records, not all, right? Let's see. So there are 258 premium customers who have made a total purchase of more than 7,000, right? On weekdays itself. And this purchase is on weekdays itself, not weekends, right? I hope this would make sense. So, one last example I want to cover. Let's say I want to find total sales and number of orders per store location with sales happening in the month of Jan 2023, ordered by number of transactions. I will write it, it's a long thing. Uh, total sales, total sales and number of number of orders per store, per store location, that means per store location with sales happening in the month of Jan 2023. Now again there is thing ordered by number of transactions, right? So do not worry, looks complicated but we will break it down easily. Always start with that thing the way I have explained. Select from group by, right? You write where also and then group by, right? And having also whatever is not required we will eliminate. So from we can fill very easily, table we know sales, right? Group by what? Total sales and number of orders, these are aggregations, right? Per store location, group by store location, store location. And if I am using store location here, immediately I will put it in select also, right? And now I will put the aggregations total sales, sum of amount as total sales, comma, number of orders, that means count star counting of rows, right? As num orders, number of or transactions, num transactions, okay, from sales, right? Group by store location, all of this is fine. Now talking about this, that happening in the month of Jan 2023, that means it's not something we are doing on aggregation. This filter is not on aggregation, so it should be a part of where clause, right? So where I can say we have a column sale date, right? Sale date, sale date in between. I mean, we could have done the other way also, the way we have done extracted month and this thing, right? Year. Otherwise, we can also do it this way. Date, sale date between 2023 01 01. That means 1st Jan 2023 and 2023 01. That means and 31. 31st Jan 2023. So from 1st Jan 2023 to 31st Jan 2023. This is the condition I am giving. Group by store location. I do not have anything having, but I have something called as order by here. Order by, right? Ordered by number of transactions. Number of transactions is this. This is perfect, right? Order by number of transactions. Probably we can do it in descending order, right? Highest one at the top. So let me just write it. Okay. And you can see this. store location, total sales, number of transactions, and these are ordered in descending order. In descending order, right? So with this, we are good. I hope you would have learnt a lot. Group by super important, and that's why I covered so many examples, and even I spent some more time, like kind of by explaining you more. Few things you might have felt are redundant also, but I want to emphasize things a lot more than other topics, because group by is way more important than whatever we have learned till now, right? And I hope you would have got an idea about uh, group by, and when to use having, when to use where, and when your group by will not work, right? All of that we have to use aggregation column as in the select clause, all of those things, right? So with this, I will end the session, and I hope you liked it. Thanks a lot.